narrowed her eyes and cocked her head to the side, which was as much displeasure she dared display in company. Deborah just smiled as Mary Ann sat in the chair held out by the footman. It did not seem to matter that Mary Ann had told Deborah that Timothy had offended her again, hence the second bouquet, or the continued reminders that she had no interest in Timothy, nor did Timothy have any interest in her. Because Mary Ann would not tell Deborah the reason for the apology daisies, Deborah was determined to see them as a sign of Timothy's affection, and had apparently convinced the hostess to seat them beside one another. What luck! Mary Ann let the footman push her chair under the table and made small talk with the older man on her left for a few minutes, until his attention was captured by the woman on his other side, who could have used at least 2 more inches on the neckline of her dress. Really, had she no self-respect at all? "So you are left to me," Timothy said quietly, as she looked ahead and filled her spoon with soup. She took the bite before she answered, but did not look at him. "It seems so, yes." "Am I to suppose you do not accept the apology I sent with the flowers? It was sincere, Mary Ann, I assure you. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. I fell into teasing the way I would tease a male friend, but it was not right. I'm grateful Deborah was able to arrange an opportunity to explain myself." Fantastic. Timothy had gone to Deborah for help, and Deborah had clearly interpreted his request as something different from apologizing for his idiocy. Very well, they would put it behind them, but she would be heard, even if she had to speak quietly enough to not be overheard by anyone else. "I have been embarrassed by my laugh all of my life, Timothy, and I tried for years to change it, but it seems, like my plump cheeks and short fingers, it cannot be changed. I have come to believe that the people who care for me do not mind it. I have never, however, had anyone compare it to the braying of a donkey." Saying it out loud caused her cheeks to catch fire all over again. "I am so sorry," he whispered. "Truly." She nodded and took another bite. She had already vowed never to laugh in his presence again, and wanted to be done with this conversation. Silence fell heavy between them, and Timothy was caught into conversation with the woman on his other side. Equal numbers usually ensured everyone had a partner to talk to, but it was not a perfect system, and Mary Ann wondered who else on this circular table was being left out of conversation. The soup course was removed after what seemed to be far too long, and the fish was served. She'd managed half of her plate before Timothy returned his attention to her. "How have you been the last few days, Timothy?" She kept her tone cheerier than she felt, in hopes he would follow her lead. "I have been well, save for regret over having acted like an imbecile to someone whom I care for." Someone whom I care for. She could not let those words go to her head. "We are finished with that topic," she said. "What have you done? Any walks in the parks with a belle of the season? Trips to Tattersall's with the other bucks?" He obliged her and talked about riding with his cousin Harry through Hyde Park, and attending a card party where he spent through his £5 before even the first hour had passed. "I can see how men get themselves in distress through cards," he said. "Had I deeper pockets, it would be easy to chase my limit with £5 more and then another 5 in hopes of winning back the lot. I shall always credit my thin pockets for my having avoided such a fate. Harry goes to the gambling hells nearly every night. I don't know how he still has a coat on his back." Mary Ann had heard a bit about his cousin Harry, who was extreme in many ways. She'd only met him once at a card party where he'd already had too much to drink and made embarrassing overtures toward a married woman who did not welcome his attention. She would choose Timothy over his cousin any day of the week. Not that it mattered, as she would not choose him and he would certainly not choose her. "My brother taught me to play loo with pennies," she said, to keep the conversation going. "I could not believe how much money he made from me over the course of 2 days. When my father learned of it, he made James return every cent, plus a shilling, so he'd not take advantage of my youth again." Timothy laughed, and she smiled at the slow return of their easy friendship. She wanted this, she reminded herself. Even with the difficulty of being so close to Timothy, she preferred his friendship to his absence. "What do you think of my ensemble tonight?" he asked, leaning against the back of his chair so she could see the emerald-coloured waistcoat he wore, with his charcoal coat and black breeches. I've been trying to be more creative with my dress since